Thank you. Okay, good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the October 6, 2020 Town Council meeting to order. Clerk Semino, if we start with a roll call, please.
Councilor Barica.
Here.
Councilor Connors. Councilor Connors mentioned she was having some difficulty with her audio.
She's here.
I see her here. I'm going to assume she's here. Councilor Flaherty.
Here.
Councilor Hume.
Here. Christine's here.
Councilor Mackin.
Here.
Councilor O'Brien.
Present.
Councilor Ringus.
Here.
Councilor Ryan.
Here.
Councilor Sasha.
Here.
All present.
Thank you, Sue. And for anybody in attendance with us tonight, you can reach out to our clerk, Sue Semino, by text during the meeting by 339-987-2726, or you can reach all the counselors by one email. That's towncouncil@braintree.ma.gov. That is one email that will go to all 9 counselors, including the clerk of the council. Did a roll call. Solicitor
I'm here.
Is the mayor joining us tonight? Okay.
I do not believe he will be joining us.
Okay. So moving on to announcements, the first item is 03420. Council President, vote yes for Braintree Schools or take up any action relative thereto. So as you all heard, the vote yes passed on all 4 questions. I asked Lisa Heger, who is the chair of the Vote Yes Committee, and Jennifer Dolan to be here tonight with us. I just want to say a few words, and then I'm going to turn it over to Lisa and Jen, and thank yous. I know in the school building committee we had last week, it's not always, that's not televised, but the vote yes for Braintree Schools was led by Lisa Heger and co-chaired by Jen Dolan. So my sincere gratitude and thanks goes out to them, as well as Superintendent Dr. Frank Hackett, Mayor Charles Kokoros, the former Mayor Joe Sullivan, all members of the Braintree School Building Committee, and especially the MSBA, which is the Mass School Building Authority, who agreed and approved the funding of $30 million for this particular project. And also special thanks to all the residents who, one, not only came out, but came out in great numbers. It was a historic event. So this would not have happened without the residents and without all the support of the people I mentioned above, and the town council as well for the commitment and approvals on the funding that took place to get us to this point. It truly was a historic event. It's the first debt exclusion ever passed in the town of Braintree. It'll be the first school that's been built brand new in over 50 years, since 1970. It's also historic that every single precinct that voted, every single precinct was yes on all 4 questions, which doesn't always happen. There's, differences in each side of the town. So it's truly amazing. And then the fact that it was led by 2 women, another historic event, who accomplished this victory for all the residents. What this will create is an investment in our schools, our towns, and property values, and it gives a state-of-the-art infrastructure for all schools and their children. So it creates equity amongst the town. East was built basically brand new school, added on to the existing school, where all grades 5 through 8 will be on an equal playing field, if you will. So congratulations to everybody who was part of that. With that, I want to turn it over to Lisa Heger, who is the chair of this committee, and Jen Dolan for your comments.
Thank you, Madam President. Everything that you just said, I don't really have to say anything after that. You really summed everything up. I, of course, want to thank Mayor Kokoros for doing the tour with Jen and I in the beginning of the year, and Dr. Hackett to share information about the debt exclusion, again, back in January and February before we were postponed out until September. I also want to thank members of the town council. Many of you contributed to the success of this campaign, and I'm forever grateful for your support. We had a lot of help from volunteers, a lot of volunteers, and we appreciate them sharing their time and their talents and their resources with us. We have many, many thank you notes to be sent out. But more than anything, I'd like to thank my co-chair, vice chair, Jen Dolan, who I would have been lost without. She was a great partner. So I thank her for all of her work. And lastly, I want to thank the voters. As you said, President Hume, it was overwhelming. Every district, all 4 questions, and it really was amazing. So I'm excited to see the design phase of South restart. And I just want to congratulate the voters. I want to congratulate the students and the teachers and the town, because I think we're all going to benefit from this. So again, forever grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
And would you like to add anything?
Sure. I mean, you guys are a tough act to follow. I think you really did a great job thanking all of the appropriate parties. So I will focus my thanks on first to Lisa, again, for being a great partner and friend in this effort, and especially to the voters. So I think, you know, the way that I put it was, this was a real turning point for Braintree schools. This is, you know, the message that we tried to get across from people and across to people. And we succeeded, you know, and we succeeded because of the support from the citizens of the town of Braintree across all age groups, all districts, you know, all family configurations, you know, came out and helped us vote for this. And we had a lot of great conversations with a lot of people around the town that were fun and informative, and people, you know, came out in a number of different ways to help us with this initiative. And as Lisa said, we're incredibly grateful for that support, all the way down to you know, the voting day, where Donna talked us off the ledge at the East polls a little bit as well. So it was just a great day, and, you know, a real celebration that evening to hear how the town had turned out to support our schools and our children. So, you know, thank you to everybody that supported it in any way. We're very, very grateful. So thanks.
Thank you. Any counselor wish to speak on this? Okay, I just want to add, which I think is very fitting. So tonight I want to honor the memory of the Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who championed women's rights and fought to give all women the right to be here today and to serve our community. And for me, especially, to serve as a Braintree at-large council and president of the town council. Ruth Bader Ginsburg is well known for stating women belong in all places where decisions are being made. She broke barriers. She wanted to do something to make society a better place to live. She fought for injustices, equal rights, and recognition of women. There were laws that discriminated based on gender, such as being fired for being pregnant and needing a husband's signature to co-sign on a loan. RBG got rid of the statutes that address these and other gender-based discrimination. She pioneered women and minority rights. So I'm proud and honored to be the first female counselor, the first female president, and even prouder to be joined on the council with 3 other amazing women, and the women of this town that embody the qualities of RBG. I think it's only fitting that I'm here today to recognize the first Braintree Town Council Ruth Bader Ginsburg Award for Women in Leadership that I'm going to be awarding to Lisa Fitzheger and Jen Dolan tonight. The certificate reads, and because we're in Zoom, we can't obviously give it to you in person, so these will be coming, but it reads, the Braintree Town Council Ruth Bader Ginsburg Award for Women in Leadership is awarded to Lisa Fitzheger, chairwoman of the Vote Yes for Braintree Schools. You have exemplified the qualities portrayed by RBG as the chair of the Vote Yes for Braintree Schools. You displayed intelligence, deep thought, made an impactful change, and used your voice to teach and educate the residents. You served as a role model for women and girls of all ages. We commend you for accomplishing an unprecedented historic victory with the passing of the debt exclusion for the Braintree Public Schools. That's signed the Braintree Town Council. And Jen Dolan, you will be receiving one too, as the vice chairwoman of the Vote Yes for the Braintree Schools, and the language is the same. I thought it's so fitting with the passing of the Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg and all the work that you two have achieved in such a historic event. And I just wanted to put a spotlight on the positive and the strong women in leadership that we have. And so hopefully I'm going to do this award quarterly, because we have many amazing women in this community. And you too, I'm so proud of all the work you've done, not only on this, but in everything that you've done within the town. I greatly appreciate it. The residents all benefited. So thank you so much for all you do and congratulations. And we will be getting those frame certificates out to you this week.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Counselor Ryan, well deserved. Counselor Ryan.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I just want to say congratulations to Lisa and Jen for a job well done. And it was so important to the town of Braintree. And you ladies worked very hard, and I'm very happy, and congratulations again. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, seeing none. With that, we are moving on to Meredith. Counselor Baraka, you also have another award and a recognition for this evening.
Great. Thank you so much, President Hume. I wanted to recognize again, I know we've had a very difficult, challenging 7 months in town and across the country. And I also know we have some amazing people working behind the scenes to make sure that this town and its students continue to run. So I wanted to honor tonight someone I believe is an unsung hero in town, and that is the Director of Food and Nutrition for the Braintree Public Schools, Sarah Coughlin. And I want to read you a little bit about what Sarah has done over the last 7 months for our students and for Braintree. So if you'll permit me a minute or two. Food insecurity has risen dramatically in Eastern Massachusetts since the onset of COVID-19. So as of May 1st, 1 in 6 children in Eastern Massachusetts is facing food shortages and hunger. But Sarah has kept Braintree kids fed with healthy meals throughout this entire pandemic. Back in mid-March, getting food to students who qualified for free and reduced lunch was a top priority for Sarah and her team. She put the wheels in motion to ensure that no child would go hungry. In the spring, she coordinated safe pickups across the district and ensured both nutrition and equity were served. Throughout the summer, Sarah and her team kept children fed, finding partners in Project Bread and the USDA's Farmers to Families produce boxes. Then, with school upon us again, Sarah's task grew even bigger. Universal free breakfast and lunch for every student in Braintree. Research has proven that providing free breakfast and lunch for every child, regardless of need, reduces the stigma of poverty and improves academic outcomes for all kids. Since the onset of the pandemic, as of the end of August, Sarah's team has made more than 280,000 breakfasts and lunches. That is nearly 2,000 meals a day. Thanks to the Braintree Public Schools support from our residents and Sarah's team, children have more to eat, relieving some of the financial and emotional stress for families, allowing them to focus on all the other aspects of parenting. Sarah, to you and to your incredible team working in BPS, Food and Nutrition, thank you. You have made a difference for so many of all of our residents. And President Hume, do you want to read the commendation?
Yep. Thank you, Councilor Baraka. So the Braintree Town Council, in recognition of Sarah Coughlin, recognizes with gratitude Sarah Coughlin, the Director of School, Food, and Nutrition for the Braintree Public Schools, along with her team, for keeping our children fed in the midst of a devastating global pandemic, for supporting Braintree families by providing nutritious and reliable meals, and for doing so with a keen sense of equity and empathy. And it's signed by the council. So we congratulate you, Sarah. Would you like to say a few words?
Sure. Thank you guys very much for your recognition. I just want to thank all of my employees who have they've taken everything that I've thrown at them with a grain of salt, and they just never even dropped the ball this whole entire time. It's been a lot of work for them, and they've proven to be really dedicated to their jobs and to the students of Braintree. So I couldn't do it without them. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I also want to acknowledge Dr. Frank Hackett, Superintendent of the Schools, is here with us in attendance, just in support of accommodations we just gave. Okay, I believe Counselor Flaherty has a announcement.
Thank you. I have two announcements. One is that the Attorney General's office is having something called the People's Law Firm Outreach Day. So this is a virtual summit. Anybody can attend. All you need is a computer. It's a virtual summit on economic security, workers' rights, and voter protection. So it's the Massachusetts Attorney General's office. It's on October 14th, 2020. And you all are welcome. It starts at 9:30 in the morning. And I'll put a post on Facebook about how you can RSVP. There's a link for RSVPing. So that is the first one. And the second one is the Braintree Senior Health and Fitness Week is happening over at our Council on Aging. And so at 71 Cleveland Avenue for the week of October 13th to October 16th, Sharmila Biswas has planned a boatload of wonderful outdoor activities. So the weather has been gorgeous. I hope that the weather will continue to be gorgeous for all of this because, I mean, cardio, strength, and flexibility, healthy snacks all the time, chair yoga, information about COVID-19, Tai Chi, a short walk on a walking trail, rhythm and melodies by the South Shore Conservatory of Music. All the events are free. And it's for Braintree residents only, and you are encouraged to sign up. And the number that you should call if you would like to sign up is 781-848-1963. And if you get their fabulous newsletter, which I didn't get before, but I definitely want to get now, it's actually right in there too, so you can check it out in there. And I just think it sounds like a really great opportunity for our seniors to participate in, and I know it'll be a lot of fun.
Thank you, Councilor Flaherty. Councilor Ringus, go ahead.
Thank you, President Hume. I feel bad because now I have sad announcements after all the happiness that we've had so far. But I did want to note that this past week and a half, Braintree actually lost two important people to the town. So on September 25th, unfortunately, Pamela Cosgrove passed away. For anyone who is a graduate of Braintree High, she was a longtime English teacher there. Just kind of briefly on Miss Cosgrove, she was born August 10th of 1944 in Quincy. She was the daughter of Lawrence and Teresa Ford, and she lived in Quincy until 1989. She was the valedictorian of Quincy High School. She earned her bachelor's degree from Emmanuel College. She got her master's degree from BC, and her particular interest there was in Irish literature. After teaching for a year at Holyoke Junior College in September of 1969, she joined the staff of Braintree High as an English teacher, and she continued at Braintree High until health issues forced her retirement some 40 years later in 2009. For anyone Obviously, anyone who had her, she was known for her energy, her enthusiasm, and her wit. She was often voted, I think it was perennially for a while, the favorite teacher in the yearbook superlatives by the teachers. She taught the Humanities Honors Program. For years, she partnered up with folks such as Louis George, John Leroy, Mary Moran, and Ahmad Rice over her years there. She helped so many students with their college application essays over the years. And she never sort of told them what to do. I was one of the people who sought her out. She always used the Socratic method in having you sort of figure out what was going to be next and how you're going to move forward. Guidance counselors used to joke that she had been admitted at least once to every Ivy League college in America and every other school as well. She also taught summer school and evening courses. During her years in Braintree, she served as the yearbook advisor, as the National Honor Society advisor, and a co-chair of the high school reevaluation committee. She leaves behind her husband, Judge Cosgrove, who anyone who's practiced in the Superior Court would know well. And so she was a huge piece of many students' lives in Braintree and the reason that so many students in our town were able to go on to a higher education. So she will be missed. I also want to share the passing of Mike Doheny. Mike was, anyone who's played soccer in Braintree, Mike was the founding father of Braintree Youth Soccer in 1980. And for over 40 years, he inspired young players. Soccer was something that I played my entire life coming up. My kids still play it today. Mike has Doheny Field, which is behind the snack bar, named after him. He stayed involved up until at least last year. He was up there at 6 a.m. Setting up field crew still. He participated and helped out with various of the U18 and U19 travel girls programs, which won the state championship the year before last. Soccer is what it is in Braintree today because of Mike Doheny's contributions. And so his loss is also felt huge in the soccer community, but the community as a whole. So my condolences to the families of Miss Cosgrove and to Mike Doheny.
Thank you, Councilor Ringus, for bringing both of those up. And yes, our condolences go to the family. I knew both of them. I had, when she was Miss Ford, I believe she met her husband and married when I was still at Braintree High, and he was a teacher as well up there. So incredible person. She had a unique personality, was an amazing teacher, humanities. And I agree. I think she encouraged, and I know she did, and lots of writing and interest in English, and had people continue on as teachers in the English because of her. So thank you for those. And you couldn't go to any soccer game, whether it be Braintree Youth or at the high school, without seeing Mike Doheny. He was always there. He was ever present. So I was so sad to hear the passing of both of those. So again, Council Ringus, thank you so much for honoring their memory. I do have two further announcements. A congratulations to our grant writer, Lorraine C., and to the town of Braintree, who we received a grant that the mayor announced. The town of Braintree has been awarded a grant from the Center for Tech and Civic Life in the amount of $13,465 to support the election work in our community. And again, Lorraine C. is our town contract administrator and grant writer. So as you all know, there's been many elections this year, and in particular with the mail-in ballots, it's put a great strain on every single municipality throughout the Commonwealth. So this is a great addition to the town and to help support, to ensure that everybody can vote and feel safe and be comfortable in their voting. So with that, I would also want to just mention about the November 3rd election. The town clerk has been processing and has started mailing out early vote by mail ballots. The first ones went out today. They will be continuing that through the rest of the week, as well as processing absentee ballots that have already been mailed in. Registered voters that have requested an early vote by mail ballot this past July will automatically receive an early vote by mail ballot for the November 3rd election. If you are going to be early voting in person, it will only take place at Braintree Town Hall. So all polling places, no matter where you voted, if you're going to participate in early voting, and I'm going to give you those dates right now, that will take place at Town Hall. So for the November 3rd state general election, early voting at Town Hall is Saturday, October 17th and 24th, 8:30 to 1:30. Sunday, October 18th and 25th, 8:30 to 1:30. Monday, October 19th and 26th, 8:30 to 4:30. Tuesday, October 20th and 27th, 8:30 to 7 p.m. Wednesday, October 21st and 28th, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30. Thursday, October 22nd and 29th, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30. Friday, October 30th and 30th, 8:30 a.m. to 1:30. I just want to commend the staff in the town clerk's office and our clerk Semino as well, who provides a great deal of support to all the residents. This has been a especially busy year with the multiple elections, and as I stated, with COVID and all the additional requirements that the state is putting on, and no additional full-time staff with the exception of the election workers that are brought on. So great job to Town Clerk Jim Casey, and thank you, Sue Semino, for always willing to step up and support their office. Greatly appreciated. Councilor Barrica, go ahead.
Thank you so much. I do also have one announcement. So Grove Manor, 160 Grove Street, will be hosting a jack-o'-lantern drive-by. They are looking for entries for the best jack-o'-lantern. So you can carve your pumpkin, drop it off at 160 Grove Street on October 28th from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. or on October 29th from 8 a.m. to noon. The jack-o'-lanterns, the hope is to line the entire driveway. If you've been over to Grove Manor in the Glen, there's a nice loop there to line the driveway with carved jack-o'-lanterns. There will be prizes awarded, and they will be lit up for folks to admire on both the 29th and the 30th of October from 6:30 to 9 p.m. So get your designs thought out and bring your jack-o'-lanterns over there towards the end of the month.
Thank you, Councilor Baraka. Any other announcements from the council? Seeing none, if we could have a motion to approve the minutes of August 4th, 2020.
So moved, Madam President.
Second.
There's been a motion made by Councilor Ringus, seconded by Councilor Ryan. Clerk Semino, a roll call vote, please.
Council Baraka,
Yes.
Council Connors,
Aye.
Council Flaherty,
Yes.
Council Hume,
Aye.
Council Mackin,
Aye.
Councilor O'Brien,
Aye.
Council Ringus,
Aye.
Council Ryan,
Aye.
Council Sasha.
Yes.
That's 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you, Clerk Semino. That is unanimous. Moving on to communications and reports from the mayor and town boards. We're going to take up 01220 Council President COVID update. And with us tonight, we have Mary Beth McGrath, Director of Municipal Licenses and Inspections. So to you, Mary Beth, and to all your staff, thank you for the continued hard work. This has been no easy task and a strain on your department as well. And I appreciate all the work you've done with your contact tracing to keep our numbers low. I think we bumped into, I'll let you get into the specifics, but specifically, if you can address, there's been a little bit of spike, which we talked about a few weeks back. If you could address that and what's causing and what you expect for the future and some guidelines you would hope for the residents will follow.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairman. I appreciate it. And thank you to the council members for entertaining me this evening. The current numbers as of today, we had 4 cases today, so that brings our total cumulative number to 1,060 cases. Early on in this COVID pandemic, as you know, the majority of our cases were from long-term care and assisted living facilities, but we've kind of turned a point here is that now 50% of the cases are in long-term care facilities and 50% are in the community, which is a very concerning number on both sides. Most recently, and I know that through the mayor and Nicole Taub, there was a press release that was issued indicating that a lot of the numbers that we're seeing are for persons between the ages of 20 to 29 years old. Our youngest case yesterday was a 1-year-old. So I know I've mentioned this in the past, no one is precluded from this illness, no matter what their age is, and that's clearly representative in the case we had yesterday of a 1-year-old, and we've also had someone as old as 103, so it's across the board. I am concerned that we are currently in the yellow range. So the ranges that are, the risk ranges that are set up through the state are green, which is between 0 to 4 cases per 100,000, yellow between 4 to 8 cases per 100,000, and red, which is 8 cases plus per 100,000. So the state reviews these numbers weekly on Wednesdays, and then they issue whatever as a result of the cases are seen, what risk category cities and towns are placed in. So currently we are in the yellow. We hope to remain in the yellow and potentially go down to the green, but you know, we have a lot of things that are coming up. Their school is back in session, which I know that's going very, very well. And we appreciate Dr. Hackett and all of his team and everything that they're doing. And it's a Herculean job. The nurses are in contact with us on a daily basis just to check in and see how they're doing. And if there are any issues, we're here to guide and help them. And they also help us too. We also have a lot of youth and adult sports activities going on in the community, which we're always monitoring and remaining vigilant and concerned about those. And there are a lot of seasonal things that are coming up. Halloween's coming up. We have some holidays coming up with Thanksgiving and Christmas. And those are events in which normally families and people in the community gather. And this year, I think, and I'm recommending that those need to be modified because COVID is not going anywhere, and we need to be vigilant in making sure that we're social distancing, the face covering requirements are being met, because those really are factors that help us and prevent the spread. So I know that Mayor Kokoris and Nicole are always making sure they're getting messages out to the community to try and advise of those things. And there are many people on the call this evening that can help us do that as well. And so right now we really need to be vigilant about what's happening with COVID and continue to try and work towards preventing a further spread.
Thank you, Director McGrath. Solicitor Taub, or Chief of Staff Taub, I know you're playing both roles. I don't know what to call you each time. Do you want to add anything to that? And if there's any plans or discussion about what to do with Halloween? I know the mayor was talking about what the town was going to do.
Thank you, Madam President. We continue to monitor the numbers with Director McGrath and her team, and I would expect the mayor will have an announcement about Halloween in short time, likely before this week is over. I also would just note that this past Monday, so yesterday, we did enter into phase 3, step 2 of the governor's reopening plan. And so just to stress Mary Beth's point about making sure we all continue to do our part to make sure that our numbers continue to go down so that we don't face perhaps moving backwards in the reopening schedule, and can just continue to move forward and continue the decline in the numbers of positive cases within the community.
Thank you. Any counselors have a question or comment on COVID? Okay, well, Director McGrath, thank you. Appreciate your time. And again, I know your days are so busy, so I truly appreciate you being here tonight and for the update, and hope all the residents take the advice and information and use caution and keep our numbers low, and that we get back into the green very shortly. But again, thank you so much.
Thank you. And if I might add, can I add one more thing?
Absolutely.
In addition to COVID, we are in the influenza season, or beginning it. So it's very important, and I'd like to extend the message to ask residents to go out and get a flu shot. If they don't get it from us locally here at the town, please go to your physician, go to your local pharmacies that offer them as well. It's really important that we all try and take those precautions as well to prevent influenza. The children in the school system, they are required to have the influenza vaccine by December 31st. We're working very closely with the school department to assist in getting that accomplished, and we continue to have our own flu clinics. Our next big flu clinic will be Tuesday, October 13th, from 3 to 7 p.m. at the town hall.
Thank you. Okay. We have 2 other items under communications and reports, but if it is okay with the committee, we're going to take those out of order and go to old business, as we have our outside auditor with us here. Anybody from the council object to that? Seeing none. Okay, we are going to jump forward to old business, item 20059, the council president, reappointment of the outside auditor, or take up any action relative thereto. As I stated, we have Mike Nelligan with us here tonight. He is with Powers and Sullivan. He represents the firm that is the outside auditors for the town of Braintree. So I will refer to Councilor Berica, who is the chairwoman of the Committee on Ways and Means, for your, yes, go ahead, Councilor Berica.
Thank you, President Hume. All right, for those in the audience, just really quickly, the outside auditor provides an independent review of the town's financial health, including issuance of a comprehensive annual report, consultation on new funding opportunities, risk assessments, and best practices for municipal accounting. The Ways and Means Committee met a couple weeks back and voted unanimously to favorably recommend the reappointment of Powers and Sullivan for a 3-year term. I also want to make sure the rest of the council and the public knows that Powers and Sullivan has held constant their fees over the last 8 years. And the renewal of this contract will extend the same fee rate, which is $61,000 for another 3 years. So this rate includes an audit of the town's finances, the Braintree Public Schools end of year financial report, and our comprehensive annual financial review, which again, for any of the residents in the audience this evening, all that is available online for your review if you're interested. And the committee really felt confident in the work of Powers and Sullivan, as well as their tenure and knowledge of Braintree. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Council Baraka. Anybody else from the council wish to speak on this matter? Okay, seeing none. Council Ringus.
Madam Chairman?
Oh, sorry, Councilor, was that Ryan?
Yes.
Go ahead. I didn't see, and then I see Councilor O'Brien. We got a
Thank
full
you very
screen
much,
here. My
Madam Chairman.
apologies.
I just want to say that I've had the pleasure of working with Powers and Sullivan's for the past 13 years now. They do an outstanding job for the town of Braintree. They're a very solid, reputable firm, and I will be supporting their reappointment tonight. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Ryan. Councilor O'Brien, you're next, and then Councilor Sasha. I see your hands raised.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to reach out and say a direct thank you to Mike Nelligan for coming through on this proposal. We've had them, as was mentioned by a previous speaker, we've had them for a number of years. They're the utmost professionals, and their value in external audits cannot be compared. Just look at the proposal and the numbers of other communities that are using them. So Mike, thank you. Appreciate you showing up, and certainly if there's any questions for us, feel free, but we appreciate you guys holding steady, particularly as you know, as we turn the corner here with the pandemic, that we are going to probably have some financial hurdles. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor O'Brien. Councilor Sasha, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. I would just echo the sentiments of the previous speakers and point out that Powers and Sullivan's produced the comprehensive annual financial report for the town every year, which is the best source for any resident to go to find out everything about how their money is being spent. It is comprehensive, to say the least. It's very thorough and detailed, and our CAFR is an award-winning CAFR. It's very well put together, and the fact that Powers and Sullivan is doing this and keeping their rate steady, I think, is a great benefit to the town. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Sasha. And I see, well, oh, nope, that's you. Okay. All right. With that, Councilor Ringus, is there a motion?
There is. Thank you, Madam President. Pursuant to Section 6-11 of the Town Charter, through the Braintree Town Council, to approve a 3-year contract for FY 2021, FY 2022, and FY 2023 for Powers and Sullivan CPA as independent certified public accountants.
Second.
There's been a motion made by Councilor Ringus, seconded by Councilor Ryan. Clerk Semino, a roll call, please.
Council Baraka.
Yes.
Council Connors.
Aye.
Council Flaherty.
Yes.
Council Hume.
Aye.
Council Mackin.
Aye.
Council O'Brien.
Aye.
Council Ringus.
Aye.
Council Ryan.
Aye.
Council Sasha.
Yes.
All in favor.
Thank you, Clerk Semino. Okay, moving on to the next item is 20067. The mayor requests to approve the grant of a conservation restriction to the Wildlands Trust or take up any action relative thereto. I will refer again to Councilor Baraka, Chairwoman of the Committee on Ways and Means, for your recommendation.
Thank you very much, Council President Hume. Again, the Ways and Means Committee met a couple of weeks ago, and we are sending this to the full council with a unanimous favorable recommendation. And for those in the audience, a little bit of information on this. It is unique. So Braintree's Cedar Swamp is a 90-acre swath of conservation land. That's the largest contiguous open space in Braintree. Within Cedar Swamp, there are 3 acres that will be impacted by this conservation restriction. And the conservation restriction really provides an extra level of protection for these acres, which contain truly unique environmental qualities, including intact wetlands and Atlantic white cedar stands. So Braintree is going to remain the owner of the land, and Wildlands Trust is responsible for ensuring that the town does not allow alteration of the land, such as encroachment by abutters, dumping, etc. And they do this through an annual site visit. So thank you very much, President Hume.
Thank you, Councilor Baraka. Any other council wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, Councilor Ringus, is there a motion, please?
There is. Thank you, Madam President. I would move that the Town Council, pursuant to Sections 31, 32, and 33 of Chapter 184 of the General Laws of the Commonwealth, Section 12 of Chapter 44B of the General Laws, and the authorization of the town through Article 4D of the Special Town Meeting of November 13th of 2007, vote to approve and grant a conservation restriction to Wildlands Trust Incorporated and its successors and permitted assigns on a parcel of land consisting of approximately 3 acres located off Plain Street, which is identified as Assessor's Parcel 1086-0-29. The parcel was acquired by the town with monies appropriated under the provisions of the Community Preservation Act, Chapter 44B of the General Laws, pursuant to which the town is required to grant a permanent restriction on the acquired parcel, enforceable by an appropriate nonprofit organization. The conservation restrictions shall take effect when it is accepted by Wildlands Trust Incorporated, approved by the Massachusetts Secretary of Energy and Environmental Affairs, and recorded with the Norfolk County Registry of Deeds.
Second.
There's been a motion made by Councilor Ringus, seconded by Councilor Ryan.
Councilor Baraka,
Yes.
Councilor Connors,
Aye.
Councilor Flaherty,
Yes.
Councilor Hume,
Aye.
Councilor Mackin,
Aye.
Councilor O'Brien,
Aye.
Councilor Ringus,
Aye.
Councilor Ryan,
Aye.
Councilor Sasha,
Yes.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you, Clerk Semino. Okay, we are going to now go back to communications and reports from the mayor and town boards, and I believe everybody is with us on these items. We are going to take up the Peterson Pool audit first. So 04020, Council President, the Peterson Pool update or take up any action relative thereto. With us this evening, we have our the town council's internal auditors, the firm of Clifton Larson Allen. We have Dan Sullivan and Sean McGoldrick here with us. Just to give a little background on this, I called for this audit earlier in the year. The purpose was to review the financial transactions with the Peterson Pool and all the related documents, as well as the progress on this. As you all know, COVID's kind of gotten in the way of everything and interrupted that process. Slowed it down a bit, and then with summer and vacations and whatnot. So with any audit report, there's always a draft similar to what every single one of us has done here in school. You write a draft. It has spelling errors, grammatical errors. It's not complete. You'd never put your draft into a teacher. The draft doesn't go out. There was documents that were not included in the original, the draft. So those documents were added after a review with myself and Solicitor Taub. Again, that is a normal practice with auditing procedures. You have a meeting with those who were audited, so to speak, and in this case, it was the mayor's office. So Solicitor Taub was on that conversation. I had nothing to do with the writing of the report. The report was all done by our auditors. There was nothing taken out. There was nothing added. It is their language. They abide by a code of conduct of internal auditors, as well as many other organizations that they are affiliated with. And you have before us the report. So it's not common practice for audit reports to get on the town council meeting agenda, but this was such a hot topic last year. During the election and all the year, I felt it important that we do this. That's why I called for the audit. That's why I put it on the agenda. There was again, vacation and time schedules and things like that. I have a full-time job. Other people have other full-time jobs. There was nothing done to delay this intentionally. COVID was the biggest part of it. Again, the document that's out here it's accurate, it's a clear depiction, and I'll leave it at that for now. I know, Sean McGoldrick, you would like to speak? Go ahead.
Point of order, Madam President.
Who's speaking?
Stephen O'Brien, Councilor O'Brien.
Yep.
Just to recap back on your earlier statement, you said there was the town council's auditor, but this is the auditor for the entire town of Braintree. Thank you.
He reports directly to the town council.
I recognize that. I recognize that, but he is the internal auditor for the town of Braintree.
Okay. Sean McGoldrick, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to say and state what this audit was supposed to be. Back, I think, early in the spring or perhaps late winter at this point, I heard numerous rumors, innuendos about concern with the Peterson Trust. So after talking to numerous counselors and getting the approval from the council president, we began to look at the financial transactions of the Peterson Trust. That include reviewing wills, contracts, court orders, court judgments, invoices, et cetera, et cetera. So my goal was to provide you with an accounting of what happened in all the transactions, including the documents I reviewed to substantiate those transactions. And a draft is just that. Any department I work with, whether it's been in the past with golf, water, sewer, all the way down to, I don't know, police or library, we review what we're given. And there's always questions. Sometimes I will issue drafts to help spur on more information, because if a draft is provided and then they see there are holes, people may respond quicker. I'm not saying that happened. I'm just saying that's an example of something I have done in the past with other clients or other individuals. So as an example, the original draft that was issued, we were concerned about the validity of the splash pad payments and how this came to be out of the Peterson Trust. Well, lo and behold, there was a court order that we did not have, which quenched our thirst, if you will, into how that money got spent on the splash pad. That is the biggest difference between this draft that we initially issued versus the final. Without that court document, we had no clue about how the splash pad got funded through the Peterson Trust. Having received that document subsequently, that changed our report. And that's why if we had sent that draft out to everyone would have been up in arms and saying, how can this be? It turns out there was a reasonable explanation as to those costs and why they were charged to Peterson. So just wanted to state that. If there's any questions I can try to attempt to answer on the report, please let me know. Dan and I are both here. Thanks.
Thank you, Sean. I know Solicitor Taub, you wanted to make a comment as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Madam President. And just to be clear so that there is no confusion this evening on this topic, I am speaking as the town solicitor for the town of Braintree, because that is the capacity in which I was asked to participate in this process. So I want to talk a little bit about what my role has been in not just the audit, but the overall Peterson Pool project, to attempt to allay any concerns that the council may have about the advice and information being provided from my office. As I think everybody that's participating this evening knows, this project is governed by a variety of legal documents that start with the will making the gift, lead into a special act that was passed in 2011, a lease and development components agreement, which I'll refer to as a components agreement, that was executed by the town and the original developer in 2015, and then a ground lease that was executed by those same parties in February of 2018. The town has been very clear about its commitment to this project financially, which was first set out in April of 2015. According to that agreement, the town committed to provide the project $1.5 million from the Peterson Trust Fund based on the developers meeting certain developmental milestones. Those milestones included signing the components agreement, completing the design and engineering plans required for permitting, signing of the lease, and then issuance of all of the necessary building and planning permits needed to begin construction. As was previously reported to this council, the developer met those first 3 milestones, resulting in the payment of $1 million as required in both the ground lease and the components agreement. That time period included getting permits from the Planning Board, the Zoning Board of Appeals, the Conservation Commission, as well as approvals from the school committee necessary to move the project forward. I also want to note that I personally was not involved in the drafting of any of these legal documents or issuance of permits, nor was I employed by the town in any capacity at the time the last payment was made in the $1 million, which occurred in February of 2018. I was asked to become involved in this project as the town solicitor when the determination was made that BSC Partners had not met their obligations under the lease, and we were intending to pursue a breach of contract protocol as set out in the legal governing documents. Copies of the documents, as well as the invoices that were paid by the town in the amount of $1 million, were provided to the council in April of 2019. As everybody knows, BSC then opted to avail themselves of their legal right in the ground lease to assign the project to a subsequent developer. I was involved in the negotiating and drafting of those materials, which were executed with East Street LLC last year and are referenced in the audit report. Copies of those materials and information were provided to Mr. McGoldrick in the course of performing his audit because they were legal in nature and were drafted out of the town solicitor's office. I can report, as we are here this evening, that East Street LLC, after beginning work on the site and clearing the property and beginning to install the drainage as previously approved by the planning board, determined that the plans that were executed were not acceptable given the condition of the land. They have since worked with a new engineer as well as the town's engineering department and planning department and are on the planning board agenda for next week's meeting seeking approval of the new drainage plan. And we believe and are confident that upon receipt of that approval, construction will begin again for the pool and rink facility located at the high school. Additionally, as was noted in the audit report, the town sought the court intervention on 3 separate occasions. Again, another legal component to this project, information relating thereto was provided to Mr. McGoldrick in the course of conducting the audit. Those 3 permissions and judgments from the court, including allowing the town to move the pool from its originally proposed location, using money from the fund to pay not just for construction, but also for continued operation and maintenance of the facility once completed, and allowing the mayor and the director of municipal finance to oversee the construction and expenditures from the fund as a result of the transition to the new form of government, and express permission to utilize the fund to construct a splash pad located at Watson Park. I felt it was important for the council to understand the legal history of the project in order to understand why I was involved in providing information and reviewing the draft report by Mr. McGoldrick. In my role as town solicitor, I provided Mr. McGoldrick with the documents that I've referenced this evening, as well as attempted to answer all of his questions. I want to echo the sentiments of President Hume and state very clearly, I did not write any portion of the audit report that you received from Mr. McGoldrick, nor did I redact or demand removal or adjustment of any of the information contained therein. I simply provided the legal history of the project and the supporting documentation so that Mr. McGoldrick and his team could complete the audit requested by this council. As I have said previously in my review of the legal documents, the town met all of its obligations relating to the project and acted in accordance with all of the governing documents, legislation, and court orders regarding the construction and development of the Peterson Pool. Copies of these materials have been provided to the council in the past, and I am more than happy to share them again if requested. In the meantime, we certainly look forward to continue our work with the current developer and bring this project forward for the residents of Braintree. Thank you very much for your time, President Hume and Mr. McGoldrick, for your work on this important topic.
Thank you, Solicitor Taub. Any counselors have any questions? Counselor Ringus, was that? No? Counselor Connors and Counselor Mackin. Go ahead.
Who would you like to have speak first?
Counselor Connors, I called you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I have a couple of questions concerning this. I had sent Sean, as you know, emails back and forth with you in early February concerning this. And I had some very specific questions in particular about the code, which states we are to do an annual report, which I have not seen or have not seen any documentation to an annual report per code 3.100.05. And that question was never answered in the audit. So can you answer that question for me? Have we been doing our annual reports in accordance with the proper codes?
I don't know the answer off the top of my head. If that was a question originally answered, I certainly don't remember at this point in time, as it has gone back further. But if it's a specific report that you're looking for, is it a financial report in terms of where the trust fund is?
The code is very specific in that it says, Braintree Code, the treasurer collector is the custodian of the funds. In accordance with this law, there is a requirement to file an annual report to the mayor's office, as well as a copy put in the annual town report showing debits and credits, along with an accounting of how the money was spent. And that report I have not been able to find since its inception, when the money was first given to us.
Gotcha. So I did attempt to address that within my report by giving the full accounting of it. I also do know that all the money in and out of the trust fund is in a singular bank account. It is not commingled. It earns interest on its own. The interest goes right into the actual general ledger itself for the Peterson Trust. But in terms of an annual report, these funds would be included within the CAFR too, that actually we just spoke about as part of the external audit.
I did not see anything in the CAFR that I'm aware of, and maybe I've missed it, but that was one of my main questions that I had asked back in February when we asked for this audit, and that question was not answered. So I would like an answer to that particular question. In addition to that, as of this date, as of I'm aware, and Sean, this is probably not a question for you, it's probably more of a question for planning, Christine or somebody, but one of the questions again was, we have no final internal plans for this facility. They're not public, they're not anywhere, I don't know where they are. The plans that are still showing up on the website are old and outdated. And I'm just wondering what the status is of that.
I think that would be yeah. The auditors wouldn't be able to answer that. I don't know, Solicitor Taub, you want to take that up tonight, or if we can address that?
I can certainly share with you, Councilor Connors, what I know, and I know Director Stickney's here. So the building permit application has been filed, and so that's where you'll start to see the additional plans. There is a set of architectural and MEPs that are part of the project, but because of the modifications being made to the drainage, there's going to have to be a shift in the architectural and design plans. So when the foundation permit application, which is the next item that would be filed through the building department, that's when we'll start to see on file the additional plans for the structure. So what I can certainly do is keep an eye out for those and let you know when they're available and provide copies of those.
They should be made public up on the website, just like the old plans were, so everybody can see what's going on. So I'm sorry if I'm speaking out of turn, but I thought this was a Peterson Pool update of not just the audit, but just an update in general. So that's why I'm asking these questions as well.
I will address that. So tonight was specifically for the audit. I know the mayor was looking towards the end of October to do a Peterson Pool update. So my apologies for not making that clear. I know he's not with us tonight, but Solicitor Taub, if you want to add to that, I know he had spoke to me to do one towards the end of the month with the intentions of probably having more information available on the actual to address Councilor Connor's questions.
It's certainly, if it's the practice to put plans online, we will continue to do that. I don't have any reason to think that these would somehow not be posted publicly as all other plans are.
Okay, I have more questions, but they're not with the audit. So again, the agenda wasn't clear. It says Peterson Pool update. So I assumed it was not just an audit update, but a general update as well. But I would like copies of every document that was given to the auditor, given to, so we can review them in addition to that. I can say I thought I would have seen a little bit more on this report. This fund has been around for a very long time. And it looks like we only got an update from 2013 when we started spending money, but this trust has been around for a very long time. And I would have assumed we would have went back to start looking at what the interest and how it grew and all the documentation basically from the beginning of time. But if I can get those documents, that would be great.
Yep. Sean McGoldrick, go ahead.
So, Councilor Connors, 2013 was selected because essentially no money had been spent, to my knowledge, at that point in time. Also, the general ledgers only go back to 2013. So, in order to pull other documents, I don't know what the old system prior to Munis, prior to SoftWrite was. I wouldn't even have access on that. I don't know.
It would have been there if we had the annual reports, but I don't think we've done them. So.
I would assume you are correct as well too, but I just did look at the CAFR. This Peterson Trust would be buried in one of the combining columns in there. So it wouldn't specifically point out the Peterson Trust, but it's a combination of other trust funds all together lumped, just so you know.
We can
and maybe that's something we can talk about in the future as far as separating it out.
Clerk Semino, and it's too bad Mike Nelligan left. If we can get an email into him, if he can address that, and hopefully that can provide more information on that, if you would.
Certainly.
And keep Councilor Connors updated. Mike Lane, you can't speak on this issue. We're not in a public hearing. I see you raising your hand. I'm going to go to Councilor Mackin, who is next, and then Councilor Sasha. Councilor Mackin, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I'm going to, relate this to something else in town. You're all aware, we just passed a historic debt exclusion in town. And many of the people that I know voted no on it, voted no, not because they were against the schools, but specifically because of this project. They had doubts. They've seen the way the town has managed this, and they had doubts about giving the town more money to handle the schools. And, quite frankly, in some ways, I can't really blame them. The residents do deserve full transparency here. And going forward, I think it's kind of an opportunity and a lesson learned for the council. We should take a more active role in the pool project going forward. If that includes getting status reports on a monthly basis or bi-monthly, we should make sure that there's a named individual for the town who is accountable for this. And, the same thing should be considered for South Middle School when the time comes, because again, residents are going to be watching, especially after this happened. Now, throughout my professional career, I've dealt with a lot of audits. The fact that the entire history of this project, including that over 5 years ago, we signed a contract with the developer, we paid over $1 million, and there's not even a hole in the ground yet, that the audit's 2.5 pages and there's no finding is kind of baffling to me. I was kind of stunned to see that the words lack of oversight weren't used, because I don't think that's an understatement at all. Now I want to go back and ask a couple questions about an area of the report that was glossed over a little bit, and I'm sure the previous administration appreciates that, but let's dive into it a little deeper. So between 2015 and 2018, we continually made payments to a developer totaling about $1 million. And so to start off with, who actually selected that developer? And did we do a background check on them, any sort of reputational risk assessment, any sort of financial health check? Do you have that information? I'm asking either Sean, Nicole, whoever thinks they can answer it.
Councilor Mackin, I do believe it went through the 30B procurement process, and I believe they were the only bidder for the project, so therefore they were selected.
And if I could just add, that's correct. They went through the procurement process. In addition to being the only bidder, they were in fact a responsive and responsible bidder, meeting all of the qualifications set forth in the RFP. So I was not here in 2015 when the project was awarded, but it is my understanding at the time, based on the documents presented, the committee determined that they were responsive to the minimum qualifications, and that is how they moved forward in the process.
All right, thank you for that. Now the report here, it just says the town, but who exactly signed the contract with them on behalf of the town?
I believe it was Mayor Sullivan off the top of my head, but I can look it up for you 1 second.
It was Mayor Joseph Sullivan who signed on behalf of the town based on the court's order in 2012 as a result of the change of government, specifically designating the mayor in conjunction with the Director of Municipal Finance to oversee the construction and expenditures related to the project.
Thank you very much. Now I believe there were a total of 7 checks written during this time. Who authorized the payments and who signed the checks?
I don't know who signed the checks. The payments were being made in accordance with the milestones I detailed earlier, contained within the components agreement and the lease agreement.
And so just to take it a step further and not specifically talking about these checks or these payments, any check cut by the town in process has to go through the town accountant's office through the AP system. So for most communities, either a department or the accounting office would batch in AP invoices, just like they do here in Braintree. Once they get batched in, they go to the accounting office for approval. They review them, put them on a warrant, which is signed, and then checks are cut by, I believe, the Treasurer Collector's Department within Braintree. So no one sole person can cut a check like, $1 million manual check or anything like that. That doesn't exist. There's checks and balances within every municipality that would catch something like that.
Thank you very much. And I know Solicitor Todd did provide an explanation for this, but it still really surprised me that over a 3-year period, that how slow moving this was, and no one really said we should start making payments. And instead, after almost 3 full years, we paid them another $300,000. And they, the best case scenario, we're looking at an extreme level of incompetence there. And I think that's why, we really need stronger levels of oversight going forward, because that's just an unacceptable use of money. Last one other thing, the report says that the developer is not off the hook for breach of contract, but we also haven't done anything. So if they're not off the hook and they did breach a contract, is there really a reason that that's just sitting there?
So Visitor Tom, go ahead, hold on.
So just to address what that means by they're not off the hook, when the town approved the assignment of the project, it did so with certain conditions. So essentially, if in the event that E Street LLC is unable to put a weather-tight building on that property, then the responsibilities relating to the project and any breaches and any costs or I'll suggest penalties resulting therefrom would revert back to BSC Partners, and the town has not waived any of its rights to seek any type of damages against them in the event that E Street is unable to provide a weather-tight structure on the property.
Also, in the payments of who we've made payments to, there's someone named Studio Trokia. However, they weren't mentioned at all in the report. So I just wanted to clear that up.
Yep. On page 5, they did architectural drawings as part of the overall project for $65,000 in total.
All right, no more questions right now.
Thank you, Councillor Shasha. You were next, then Councillor Connors.
Thank you, Madam President. I think that for a lot of residents, I'm very excited to hear that the pool is moving forward, but I think for a lot of residents, this stopped being about the pool moving forward and became more about how we got to where we are and the inability of residents to get documentation. And I think that at this point, certainly between now and when we do an update in October on the next steps for the pool, I just urge everyone, so Solicitor Taub, all the documents that have been sent to the council already, the original contracts, the RFP, I would just encourage everybody to dump all of that data out on the website. There's a Peterson Pool website. And I think at this point in the process, there's no reason not to publish that and information. And if we can get it out there for people to sift through so that they can get their questions together for later in October, that would be very meaningful to the residents. And I did have one question, which I guess is for Solicitor Taub. Is this project bonded?
Yes, as part of the agreement, half of the bond was put up by the developer and half was put up by the town. Because it is a public-private partnership between the developer and the town, so that responsibility was shared.
Great, thank you.
And I see Councilor Connors, you have your hand raised for the second time, but before I go to you, any other council for the first time? No, okay, Councilor Connors, go ahead.
Sorry, just one follow-up question. The trust itself states that the Peterson Pool Trust is for the construction and operation of the swimming pool once financing has been assured. So, Nicole, I guess this is a question for you. In the original RFP, how was the financing, I guess, evaluated to ensure that they had the financial backing to go ahead with this project in accordance with the trust?
I don't know the answer to that, Councilor Connors. I wasn't part of the evaluation, so I can't speak with any certainty. I can certainly inquire of folks that were around at the time and see if I can't follow up with you about that question.
That would be great. I'm sure it's in the evaluation documents. You must have documented, as we do, that they're financially secure and how you documented that and how it was evaluated. So I would request a copy of that as well. And how did we financially evaluate the company that's here now doing the work? We must have an evaluation process for that as well.
Yep, before the town approved the assignment, we sought out references, professional references related specifically to the construction and development of facilities such as this one, as well as speaking directly with the bank that is providing the financing for the project.
And did you go through any previous audit reports for them to see if they were financially stable, which is a typical thing going a couple year or two back, to make sure that financially their audits are were stable and they were a financially stable company?
I did not do that. I spoke directly with the bank.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Councilor Mackin for a second time.
Thank you, Madam President. Nicole, Solicitor Taub mentioned, I'm sorry, I keep kind of confusing the title for you as well. How the current developer, they had said they were having problems with the previous plans they were presented, which came from the past developer. And as you may be aware, those plans that came from the past developer, really the only thing we got from them, a member of our planning board referred to those this July on record as engineering fraud. So that's kind of the value of what we spent the money on with them. And so obviously there were many other invoices there for, again, a total of $1 million. How deeply did you look into those payments to see what we actually got for them? Did we get our value there, or were most of the things could be classified as good as that report were?
I'm not, are you asking me that question?
I'm not going to ask Sean that as part of the audit. So following up on all those invoices and payments that were made, given that that is one of our planning members' assessment of the plans we received, how valid are the other things that we paid for?
All I know is that the milestones were hit. I can't speak to the validity of the engineering. I'm not an engineer.
Oh, I understand that, but
Well, hold on, that's an opinion of another member of another board, unless he has like factual information. It's an opinion.
Sean, I know Sean's not an engineer. I'm saying that's Yeah, there were many payments made, not just those plans, the invoices. So
Well,
for
there
the other
weren't.
invoices, were they followed up on? Like, do we actually get what the invoice says and receive? Does the dollar value make sense? Is there $1 million worth of goods that we paid for?
It was invoiced for release payment based on the contract. So there were only a couple of invoices. They were just large sums of money based on the way the contract was drawn. I don't know what else I can provide on that information. I guess I'm a little confused on the question.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anybody else on this? Seeing none. Okay. Thank you, Sean McGoldrick and Dan Sullivan, for being with us tonight and for the documents presented. Appreciate all the efforts. And Sue, we will get some of those questions. If you have any counselor has any additional questions, get them on to Sue and we will get them answered. But thank you to everybody on that one. So continuing with the communications and reports, we are going back to 03620, the council president, the compressor station update or take up any action relative thereto. With us tonight, we have from FRAX, that's the Four River Residents Against the Compressor Station, Alice Arena. And from East Braintree Civic Association, we have Mike Lang. I don't believe Dave Oliva is here with us, but Robert Kearns is on both committees, if I'm not mistaken. He is with us here tonight as well. As we talked about last meeting, there was a leak almost 3 weeks ago. I know Councilor Connors had reached out to the mayor on an alert system, which most of you should have. That was actually enacted last week because there was a second leak. So I'm certainly not the expert. I've relied on Mike Lang and all the emails and information throughout the year, so I appreciate all the work East Braintree Civic Association has done on this and FRAX, and I've always said whatever we as the council can do to help, I'm more than willing to do that. I know many of the legislatures have been involved. I'm still shocked that this project isn't still in full motion. It just doesn't make sense, and I'm no expert. There's the Bell, there's the Citgo terminal, there's Clean Harbors over there. It's a highly dense residential area. So I am still in absolute awe that this happened. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the experts we have here tonight. I don't know with who your group wants to speak first. Is it Robert Curran, Mike Lang? Okay, now I will ask you to speak and unmute Mike Lang. Go ahead. Thank you all for being with us too. I appreciate all the time.
Thank you for inviting us. First, I want to say personally myself, I have a wife and I have 3 daughters and I have 7 granddaughters. And I really support your idea with the Ruth Bader Ginsburg Award. You know, I've been involved with a lot of female politicians and a lot of other females, including, well, Alice to a limited extent, but but anyway, I've been so impressed, and I think you people are good mentors to these ladies.
That means a lot. Thanks so much.
Anyway, I have a little short spiel if I could. Do you mind if I say it?
Oh, go right ahead.
All right, for 40 plus years, Dave Oliver and I got involved in the East Braintree civic issues when a variety store across the street from the Ross School got robbed and the clerk killed. Shortly after that, Clean Harbors presented a proposal to build a hazardous waste incinerator in East Braintree. The neighbors got together and reformed the dormant East Braintree Civic Association. As the fight with Clean Harbors and the regulators progressed, we looked to the town of Braintree to support our effort to stop this evil proposal. The town's response at the time could only be described as extremely limited. After making repeated requests to the town to make a united front to the project, it became apparent that we had to replace a portion of the town's elected leadership. This was done, and after 9 years, a united 3-community, 4-river basin effort stopped the proposal. I bring this up because FRAX and the town of Weymouth started the effort to stop an ill-placed gas compressor in the volatile 4-river basin. Experience has shown that to win, it would take a united effort and money. Quincy stepped forward with legal and financial help. Alice and I approached separately the Braintree mayor and council at the time. Our efforts resulted in it resulted in a "I'll think about it" response, unfortunately. When the Braintree State Representative was asked to for his support, we were told, "No, this is in Weymouth." After the battle had gone on for a number of years, the Braintree Town Solicitor started to contribute to the legal battle with well-written arguments. Unfortunately, it was too little too late. The compressor is built, and Weymouth, Quincy, and Frax are fighting the final battles. I've been addressing environmental and other issues in East Braintree for more than half my life. I was asked one time what was the toughest project I faced. I responded, the next one. When a town doesn't face these tough issues, they set themselves up for the next nasty project that other towns don't want in their community. Spectre has said that there is another bigger project coming, with it coming through Braintree. It's time for Braintree to stand up and show some backbone. And my own personal take on this, if Braintree had invested as much effort into stopping this gas compressor as they did for building a dog park, then this thing wouldn't be happening right now. And that's my take on it. Right now, I'd like to have Alice Arena is the president of Frax. I'd like to have her speak because she's the one that knows everything. And as far as going ahead, if there's any questions with me, I think you all agree that with our neighborhood groups and social organizations, there's a need to have younger people involved. I'd like to have Robert Kern speak for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Alice, you want to go ahead, or Robert?
Have Robert go first because
Okay.
he is the Braintree resident.
Thank you, Alice, and thank you, Mike. Your wisdom and you have worked on these issues for longer than I've been alive. So I thank you for leading the torch and passing it on to others like myself. Madam President, to the members of the Town Council, through you, Robert Kearns of Pilgrim Road in East Braintree, involved with Frax and involved with Mike Lang with the East Braintree Civic Association. I just want to first start out by thanking Mayor Kokoris, Steve Leary at the office, and all the town councils for your work to get the compressor station alert system up and running. And we're hoping that the next releases have notifications going out to people before planned blowdowns, but also after the fact when emergency blowdowns do occur, like the accidents that occurred on September 11th and September 30th. The latter one, which is under investigation right now by PHMSA, Pipeline Hazard Safety, as well as the FBI and other national security agencies. One thing to note about blowdowns, and I've brought this up talking to Steve Leary and people at the mayor's office, is that there are two other sites in the town of Braintree owned by Algonquin Gas Transmission, i.e. Enbridge, where they do release frack gas out of it. One previously this year when they were doing the commissioning of the compressor station. And those locations are the Potter Street Take and Metering Station at Bell, the Braintree Electric Light Department in East Braintree, as well as the East Braintree Metering Station at the end of Birchcroft Road and Stonewood Lane, up nearby me by Palm Meadow Park. I bring this up because it would be great to loop these into the emergency alert system in the blowdown alert system for the compressor station, so people would know if they blow down out of those facilities, which they have in the past, where people really haven't known that it has occurred unless you're a direct abutter. So that's one request we have, is for that, to, keep it on the agenda for those. And I know that Braintree did get notifications from DEP and Enbridge when they were doing the work at Bell Metering Station, doing the blowdowns there when they were testing the compressor. But is my understanding, and Alice, correct me if I'm wrong, that the Weymouth compressor station itself, located in North Weymouth, just bird's eye right across the Fore River from East Braintree, is going to be doing blowdowns more than both of those combined. That's my understanding. I see Alice is nodding her head. The
the other thing I'd like to talk about is we really need publicly available evacuation plans for not only the compressor station, but Citgo, as Council President has talked about, Clean Harbors. And I thank all the counselors who are working on this with the town of Weymouth as well. And to really have a regional approach with Quincy, Braintree, and Weymouth combined, because it's not going to be just one town with these issues. It's going to have to be mutual aid. And we're also requesting, with respect to the evacuation plan, that through the town council or another public forum on Zoom, obviously with coronavirus, to have a public forum to learn about the plans of evacuation plans for the Fall River Basin, but also provide input and feedback to those plans. Because I don't know, there's probably going to be some aspects of evacuation, some aspects of shelter in place. I just don't know. And it'd be great for residents to be able to go to a forum where they can express their opinion, hear what the towns are doing collectively and independently, and provide feedback and really understand how they can prepare themselves as neighbors as well.
Robert,
And
if I could just interrupt you for 1 second. So I did speak to Solicitor Taub about the evacuation plans for Braintree, which if they're not on the website already, they're going to be. And maybe we can work to somehow get, as you said, a regional approach, but maybe at the end of this conversation, to your point, if we can have a referral to one of our committees for more in-depth conversation and what residents would like to see. I'm thinking, public safety committee or something. Who's the chair of that? Is that you, Councilor O'Brien? No, okay, but continue. So great points.
thank you. And that would be very helpful. Thank you, Madam President. Sort of in concluding my statements, kind of going off what Mike Lang said before, Access Northeast is quote unquote dead, but it's more like a zombie. It's going to come back. The fossil fuel companies are ruthless. They're going to want to export all of this frack gas out of the Marcellus as much as they can to Canada, to Europe, and China. It's like a giant straw coming out through New England up into Canada. So we're concerned about Access Northeast coming back. It's not official, but it's going to be on the agenda. And as Mike has said previously, and I have said, this project will create a pipeline through Palmetto Park in between the walking and biking paths and Route 3, getting rid of that barrier of vegetation, trees, causing more air pollution and noise pollution into the park. So that's really unfortunate. So we're concerned of that coming back. And there've been other plans that Algonquin has done to put pipelines through down in South Braintree, through underneath the power lines, through the Cranberry Brook area critical environmental concern, which is Cranberry Brook conservation area. That was another proposal that didn't go through. Not Access Northeast, it was called something else, I forget the name of it, but they have plans for these things, and we're concerned they'll come through. And with respect to the compressor station, they built the building big enough so that they can just put more turbines in there to pump the gas continuously and beef up their infrastructure. So we're concerned about additional air pollution if they want to expand the compressor. So we definitely got to keep on this, and I thank everybody for their support. And I yield my time to Ms. Arena of Weymouth. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, President Hume, for inviting your neighbor from Weymouth tonight. So I'm going to back up a little bit of what Robert has said and what Mike has said, is that you may or may not know this has been a 6-year fight. It'll be 6 years in January that this first started, and we have pushed back Algonquin's timelines by over 2 years. So that's the good news. But the bad news is in that 6-year time, Enbridge has had plenty of time to develop a safety plan of some kind. There has been more than enough time, and I know that Mike and Robert have been two of the people that have pushed really hard on this, for the localities, for the state and for the federal government to have produced some kind of safety, some kind of risk evaluation, anything at all. And literally nothing has been done. And so to Robert's point, it's extremely important for the town of Braintree to be notifying its residents, not just when something happens that causes the loss of life and property, as Enbridge says, but when something happens like the two recent accidents that combined have released about 400,000 cubic feet of gas, and this was unplanned. And it's unfortunate that sometimes it is planned. So there is a something under the U.S. Code, and Mike had said, I sent this to you before, but Councilor Haw brought it up last night. Under U.S. Code 42, Chapter 116, something called Emergency Plan and Community, let me see if I get this right, Emergency Planning and Community Right to Know Act. And under this act, they are supposed to have a plan. Everyone is supposed to have a plan. Braintree, Quincy, Weymouth. And unfortunately, although this is cited in Weymouth, it's a regional problem. If something happens at that compressor station that takes out the bridge, there goes the Citgo terminal. If something happens that takes out the pumping station, there goes the sewer lines in 14 different towns. So it's a regional situation and something that is going to affect all of us, either from a property perspective or a services perspective, or even from the loss of life. I spoke with, at actually the town council meeting in Weymouth last night, and spoke about the fact that there is no safety plan. Now, as I understand it from the town of Weymouth, supposedly things are being worked on. The fire department is supposedly working with Enbridge for some kind of a plan. But under the code, all of this information is supposed to be public, and all of it is supposed to be done not only in public, but with the ability to have public comment about these safety plans. And I'm not really sure where Braintree stands with a safety plan at all, but it would be our request certainly for your residents as well as for our residents that Braintree become involved with this plan, with Weymouth, with Quincy, and that all of this information be made public.
Okay, Braintree has worked on many different projects in a regional approach, so I don't think that's an unreasonable request. Later on in the agenda, I know Councilor O'Brien had asked for a referral of this issue to public safety, not knowing that I had already had it on the agenda for us to speak, but I think it is appropriate for us to take a vote later to get it on the agenda, to refer it to our public safety on the evacuation route and the safety plans, as you just mentioned, Alice. So that will come up later in the agenda for referrals if it's the will of this committee, which I don't see why it wouldn't. I know I just also want to mention the many residents who are here in attendance in East Braintree that this impacts, which I stated at the last meeting. It doesn't only impact East Braintree residents. If something happens at this plant, it's going to be catastrophic for all of Braintree, all surrounding communities, that I just can't imagine. I want to go back to your point, Mike, about more people got involved in the dog park. And I do agree with you. And I think because more people dogs are easy and they understand it. I don't think everybody understands this. I mean, I know, like, I refer to you and I've read some of it. I don't fully understand all of it, but there's some simple language in there that if you read it, and it is, I'm losing my train of thought there, sorry. It's not, I don't comprehend how this did pass. So I agree with you that there's not enough people involved, and I don't know if it's intimidating to people or what. If people don't understand it or the impact, or think, oh, it's not here, it's not going to affect me. I know a few years ago, and I was looking to do this earlier in the year again because I thought it was a great idea. The mayor's office and all the waterfront businesses, if you will, had a tour, which many, and I believe you were there, Robert and Mike, just to see the site. Like, it was very eye-opening. I had never been down to the Clean Harbor site, so to see beyond that site and see the waterfront, because you don't get to see that as a resident walking the streets of East Braintree or even just driving by, how vulnerable that area is and the residents, and how really close to home it is to the entire Braintree community. So like I've always said, if you have any suggestions of what we can do, how we can help, I'd love to hear it, but I think a referral is in a good position to take tonight. And thank you, Councilor O'Brien, for, I will give you all the credit for that tonight. But go ahead, Mike, and then I'm going to go to Councilor O'Brien. Solicitor Todd, did you want to weigh in too after that? Okay. Go ahead, Mike.
You know, as much as you saw at Clean Harbors, that's only the point, that a little bit of what you saw. Unfortunately, it's in the science. And when we first started it, Alice and I, 6 years ago, I developed a worst case scenario, and it's staggering. Just like you said, I remember reading the articles about up in Halifax. Was Halifax during the First World War when the whole town blew up? Anyway, and we sent help up there. Anyway, you can expect something like that down here. Right in front of the facility for the compressor and the metering station, that bridge, the brand new bridge they built, was built to allow 1,200-foot super tankers full of gasoline to go through there. Now, I want you to envision a 1,200-foot super tanker going up in flames, and then watch the Twin Rivers go up in flames, and then Quirk, and then Clean Harbors, and then Beld and Sitco. That's what you're anticipating. And the thing is, unless this town takes action like the other two towns, this is going to happen eventually. I won't be here, but it'll happen.
Thank you.
Excuse me for getting emotional. I've done this for 40 years, and I really feel bad. People aren't listening. People would rather watch Dancing with the Stars and find out why their kid is going to have cancer when he's 30.
Thank you, Mike. No need to apologize for your passion. I know you're very passionate about this, and it's very close to home for you, so I appreciate all that. Councilor O'Brien, go ahead.
Thank you, President Hume. I want to thank Mr. Lang, Ms. Arena, and particularly Robert Kearns, because he's my constituent, but more importantly, he keeps me apprised and he keeps me awake on these issues. One additional component that I just want to throw in there, and by the way, as an aside, my referral request didn't make the cut because, number one, I apologize to Clerk Semino. Here I am running down the path of requiring advance notice, and then I didn't quite get the advance notice in. So I pulled it off the list, but we certainly can entertain it, and I appreciate the attaboy, President Hume, but I'm doing it for the residents. On a separate note, the devil is in the details, because if you look at the Four River HIA website, which was MAPC's approach to assessing a health impact assessment, they even say on the website that the health impact assessment was hamstrung by the government, the administration of Massachusetts. So they couldn't even perform the extensive health impact assessment that they wanted to. And that was just an assessment of another organization that performed the health impact assessment. The point here is that Four River continues to take it and take it and take it, and these folks have done everything they possibly can. I also want to add, and certainly the town solicitor may jump in here, but Assistant Town Solicitor, I had his name, now it just escaped me for a second, but he did a lot of work towards the end. I was happy to see that Goldrosen was his name, thank you. He got involved. He was very well educated. But I would also concur perhaps with a comment that Mike might make, although he may not because he's a gentleman, that it was almost too little too late. But he did get involved. He did some great things. And then lastly, I'll leave it on this for the solicitor to respond in her chief of staff position. Would we involve BEMA in the emergency evacuation plans? And I'll stand down. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor O'Brien. Solicitor Todd, go ahead, and then Councilor Baraka.
Thank you, Madam President. So I'll just attempt to address a couple of items. And Councilor O'Brien, I want to thank you for recognizing the work of Assistant Town Solicitor John Goldrosen. He really jumped in on a very difficult and technical and complicated process, not just the science behind it, but also the legal nuances in the appeals that were being litigated on this issue. Full steam ahead, and really represented the town well in that capacity. I think, as most folks know, Assistant Solicitor Goldrosen is no longer with the town, but the recent addition to my office, Crystal Huff, has taken the matter on with the same zeal and passion that Attorney Goldrosen had for the topic, and is currently preparing independent filings in response to the most recent decision issued by the DEP that would essentially allow the compressor station to move forward. So on behalf of the town of Braintree, the defense of our position will continue, and hopefully that's in conjunction and collaboration with our other communities, as has been the case so far. As for the evacuation plans, I just would note, and I shared this information both through my own review and that was provided through BEMA, the comprehensive emergency management plan that the town currently has in place does in fact have 3 evacuation plans. One is the general evacuation plan, one is a coastal plan related to hurricane vulnerability, and one is evacuation concerning the Smeltbrook Dam. So we'll do what we can to get those published, and obviously continue our efforts to work with our neighboring communities to make sure that we have the appropriate safety and evacuation plans in place. The last thing I would mention is, with the assistance of Steve Leary from the mayor's office, we have set up a specific alert relating to updates on the compressor station, so that as we receive information from Enbridge, whether it's regarding upcoming work or testing or gas releases, or in the event of an emergency, we can provide, whether it's through text message, voice message, email message, or any combination of the 3, information to residents who choose to sign up for the alert. So if you have not done so already, I would urge folks to visit their Braintree Alerts account at braintreema.gov/alerts, and you'll see on the page the last item for you to check under the notifications section is TOB compressor station, and you can choose how you'd like to receive those alerts. If anyone has any questions about the compressor station alert or how to sign up for any of our alerts through the text and call and email system, certainly reach out to the mayor's office at 781-794-8100 or mayor's office at Braintree.
Oh, Nicole, you just cut out there on the email.
ma.gov, so that we can make sure folks have the information in real time as we get it.
Nicole, give that email again, because you cut out on my end.
Oh, sorry about that, Madam President. It's mayor's office at braintreema.gov. And I don't think the instructions are on the website, but they are on the town's Facebook page with an actual screenshot of what it looks like when you go to the page, showing you how to sign up specifically for the compressor station.
Thank you. All right, I have 4 counselors to speak in this order. Councilor Baraka, Connors, Flaherty, and O'Brien. Go ahead, Councilor Baraka.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you to the FRAX team joining us tonight and for all your work. I have 2 questions. The first is for Nicole. So on those evacuation plans, you said there's a general, a coastal, and the Smeltbrook Dam. So are any of those relatable or specific to the compressor station, or are we entertaining a 4th plan for the compressor?
None of these plans are specific to the compressor station as far as I know, but they all have some component involving East Braintree.
Okay, so that would be, I guess that is probably part two then when we move this to committee to work on a compressor, potentially work on a compressor specific plan.
Mike, I'll get to you after all the counselors have spoken. Hold on.
And then a question for Miss Arena. If you can just let us know when your next FRAX meeting is, and then we'll be able to relay that information to our constituents. I think Mr. Lang's point is extremely well taken. We can help, I can help get people notified and interested. You know, we have a very engaged citizenry here in Braintree, so.
That would be excellent. Thank you very much. So almost in general, our meetings are the second Tuesday of every month. And so our next meeting will be October 13th, beginning at 7 o'clock. We do post on our Facebook page for people to sign up, to ask for a reservation to sign up. And I also believe it's on our website at nocompressor.com. So, and also if people are not on Facebook or they don't go to websites, you can email us at nocompressor@gmail.com and we will make sure you get a reservation. So that would be very helpful to us.
Thank you. Great.
I should have added earlier, and I apologize, because Councilor Flaherty is the town council representative to FRAC, so she has always provided updates to us on it. So I appreciate Councilor Flaherty for her willingness to step up and do that. Thank you, Ms. Arena. Councilor Connors, you were next. Go ahead.
So I just wanted to thank FRAX for coming in, taking the time to speak with us tonight. I know it's a uphill battle, but you guys continue to fight for this, and we really do appreciate it as the town of Braintree. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Connors. Now, Councilor Flaherty, go ahead.
Thank you. What is so galling about this project is that at every step of the way, FRAX has pointed out loudly and forcefully numerous safety issues concerned with this project. And at every point, they have met those, at every point, their concerns have fallen on deaf ears as far as the government agencies that are meant to protect us are concerned. These government agencies are supposed to protect us from these kinds of hazards. FRAX told them what the hazards are, and they didn't do anything about it. So it's really essential for Braintree not to follow this pattern. Other government agencies have failed to protect us, so we have to protect ourselves. And so for this reason, it's my hope that BEMA will be directed to allocate resources towards working with regional entities to develop an effective evacuation plan. Because the general evacuation plan, the coastal evacuation plan, and the Smelt Brook evacuation plan are in place, and some components of those evacuation plans can be applied towards helping us work out something that would be effective to, help residents leave Braintree should the need arise. But those plans have to be coordinated with Weymouth and Quincy, because if Braintree's going one way and Quincy's going the other way, you'll create bottlenecks. And, I think it's easy to see how important it is for directions to be coordinated between the different town entities. So, we are kind of on our own right now. There is some hope that PHMSA will, and then the FBI are beginning to pay some attention now that this is in place. But, given the track record that we've seen as far as state and national safety agencies are concerned, I don't feel comfortable placing, the safety of Braintree's residents in their hands any more than we have to. That's all.
Thank you, Councilor Flaherty. Councilor O'Brien, you are next. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. Two things, and they're both related to the alert system. Number one is there's a member on this panel tonight who actually did ask to be included with the next alert. And there was a blowdown on October 1, and he did not receive an alert. So I think maybe we should retest the system. If I could make that recommendation to Chief of Staff Todd. And then the other thing is that there is a wealth of alerts and emails and notifications that people can be notified about. I have included myself in all of those, sans the newest one. But since there is a new one, which is pertaining to blowdowns, and I will echo Mr. Kearns's request to include the other two locations, which would be Beld and the, because it's in my patch. Can't remember the name of the street over there, but I do know it. Birchwood, Beld and Birchwood, that they be included as well. I don't know how we get those. I would assume that that comes from Nat Grid. Mr. Kearns certainly knows more about who manages the blowdowns, but we should know, which shouldn't require a resident for the town to know that the townspeople should know that. And thank you for your time. I yield to Mr. Lang, who wanted to make a comment. If I could, Madam President.
Hold on, I just want to address something you said. So, Solicitor Top, so if we can get what Councilor O'Brien said, a retest of the system, but also to address what's being discussed here tonight and not much engagement, is there any way to get a message out to all residents that this new system is in place? One, to inform residents of the system, but two, inform residents of the situation that's going on with the compressor station. I think that would be worthwhile. So if there's any means through the alert that the mayor sends out, if I would request that we do that, please. Just direct them to these alert systems and information on the compressor station, please. Okay.
We could do the news feed. Thank you.
That was a request to the mayor's office. Okay, Mr. Lane, go ahead. I'm gonna give you the floor.
One of the areas, I spent 20 years working on the Greenbush line for the town of Braintree. And in that time, I've seen every traffic study that was ever done in the area. I was also the town's representative on the Four River Bridge project. And that included a lot of traffic studies. In every major intersection within this area during commuting hours, now this is before the virus started, every intersection was an ERF. Now, I don't know if you know what that means. ERF means that basically you have gridlock, okay? So, I mean, if you have a problem where the Four River Bridge is out of commission, you got no place to go. There is no place. By the way, let me just mention too, I also know that the Plymouth power plant, although it's shut down, it's also the evacuation route for, this is where the people go when they're evacuating. So if perchance the fuser rods or the rod started to overheat, then you got a problem here. I did also want to tell you that the bridge itself, we had tried to talk to the Department of Transportation, Secretary Pollock's office 9 times. It turns out that there's a pipe, a gas pipeline that's right beside the supports for the bridge, and it's not supposed to be there. And this is a high pressure gas pipeline, and she won't talk to us. And I think it should be brought out in the open. I've sent her 9 letters and nothing, no response. We've had Mayor Sullivan went up and talked to her. We had representatives and senators talk to her. She won't talk about it. And I'm not sure if it's because a consultant firm she owned that works for the people that are representing Spectra. But anyway, that being said, an evacuation plan is almost silly, but we have the data out there. If you want it, we have it. Just give me a call. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lane. Then Mr. Kearns and Councilor Shasha. Go ahead, Mr. Kearns.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank Solicitor Chief of Staff Taub and concur with her about how former Assistant Solicitor Goldrosen has been awesome and really did comprehensive comments on the backed analysis on the air permit. And I look forward to the new Assistant Town Solicitor and their work on continuing the appeals processes that the town has gone through. And just a point of information, on the Birchcroft Road and Potter stations are owned and operated by Enbridge/Algonquin Gas Transmission, and they should be sending notifications to town when they're doing planned blowdown gas releases. And then the second point, just want to concur that Citgo and Clean Harbor is also important to have evacuation plans if we don't have them already. And I just want to thank President Hume, and I concur that to have the alert sign up information on the town website, news alert, and phone call to residents on how to sign up would be fantastic, because right now it's only on Facebook and not everybody's on Facebook, and things get lost on Facebook. So I want to say thank you all for all your work on this, and I yield my time.
Thank you so much. Councilor Shasha, then Councilor Ryan. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. I first just wanted to say thank you to all of you. I know you work so hard at this, and thank you for all the emails. It helps us kind of stay informed on this topic, and they're very, very detailed, and that helps a lot. And I hate to ask you to do more work, but I was just wondering if maybe just one of you could come do this once a quarter, maybe, because I think it really helps focus the residents on this, and it's very easy for everybody to just go about their normal day and forget about this. But if somebody could show up once a quarter and just remind everybody this is still an issue, and maybe there's a different set of residents that show up that night to tune into something else, and you get more people involved, I think that might help everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Ryan, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Just wanted to say thank you to Frax for being here tonight and for their work over the last 6 years. And it's the residents like Mike and Alice and Robert doing this work. And we've really been let down by our governor, Charlie Baker. And as was previously mentioned, the people that are supposed to be protecting us. And here we are relying on our neighbors and our residents to fight this fight. So I just want to say thank you. And the fight goes on, and hopefully we can stop the station. I know it's being built, but in light of what's happened recently, it's just not a safe facility at all, and it shouldn't be there. And I just want to say thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor Ryan. I know Elizabeth Maglio is also part of the East Braintree Civic Association in Frax and is attending, and I see she is looking to speak. So I'm going to allow you to speak, Ms. Maglio. Go ahead. You just need to unmute on your end.
Thank you so much. I would like to just jump in on a couple of quick points that I want to echo Councilor Flaherty's comments about how galling it is. And I agree, it is galling. And when we talk about an evacuation plan, I appreciate everyone's attention that they're giving right now, but I have to decide, do I try to go home and see if my family is alive? Or do I stay where I am when I hear that there's an explosion? Or if I'm home, do I try and leave? Or is it worse? Is it going to blow up where I'm about to go to? This is really serious. And those of us living in this neighborhood and in this town are facing this every day. And I don't want to thank Frax for bringing that to my attention. I want to apologize to Frax because we have not been good partners. I've been living here since I married my husband since 2011. I did not get active in this until a couple of years ago, partly because it's a confusing issue. It's hard to understand. It's hard to know where to step in. I don't know everything about fossil fuels. I don't know everything about fracked gas, but I sure as hell know a lot more now. And I want to know, why didn't my elected officials actually send me anything about this ever? I had to find out about this on my own. And so I am very emotional and very angry about the fact that we're in this situation now, and we've got to pick up the ball. This is not about playing polite footsie, hoping that Bima and Governor Baker, and yes, I agree with everything, they all let us down, but we've got something needs to happen tomorrow, because I need to know what to do to save my family if there's another incident. It's not even operating, and they've already released 400,000 square feet of gas, and that's like nothing. Do you know how much that really is? It's not something we can dismiss and ignore. It's something that is killing us slowly. So it comes down to, do we want to breathe this in and die slowly? Or do we want to go for a fiery explosion where half of our family is killed, whoever's unlucky enough to be home at the time? And that's how I look at this. So thank you so much, Councillor Hume, for letting me speak. And thank you for everyone giving attention to this tonight. And that's it. I'm done. Said my piece. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Maglio. Any other counselor? I think that is it for everybody. So I just want to echo everything that was said tonight and thank Mr. Lang again for your emails and educating us and keeping us informed throughout the years. We do appreciate it. You have been before us a number of times, and I know and hope you will come back to us in the future. To Mr. Kearns, to you as well, and Ms. Arena for joining us again. I think whatever we can do to educate people on what this is because as Ms. Maglio just said, it is a complex issue and not easily understood for the average person. I myself don't fully understand it all, so I rely on each of you for that information. So thank you again for all the work you're doing. I know I can speak for the council. We are here to offer our support, and again, I'll restate it again, any recommendations you have for what we can do. I do want to thank Solicitor Taub and her office for, stepping up the game on the Braintree side of it and really getting engaged in this and doing whatever they can to protect all the residents. So we look forward to seeing you in the future, and hopefully there will be coming a referral later on in this evening to one of our subcommittees. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item 00220, Council President. Town Council rules or take up any action relative thereto. I will refer to Councilor Ringus, who is the chairman of the Committee of Ordinance and Rules. You are on mute, Councilor Ringus. Sorry.
I just wanted to make sure you're paying attention. The Committee on Ordinance and Rules met today. I am going to be making a motion in a moment to continue to table this to the next town council meeting of October 20th of 2020. As you all remember, we had the Ordinance and Rules had come out with a recommendation on a 4-0 vote to refer the work that we had done prior to COVID and after COVID to the full council. At the last full council meeting, there were some amendments that were proposed, and the matter was tabled and referred back to Ordinance and Rules for further hearing on those amendments. Last week we met twice. Councilor Bo-Ricca, Councilor Shasha had their amendments addressed or discussed on Monday. Councilor O'Brien then came before us on Wednesday and discussed various proposals he had. We also addressed various other items that were brought up during the full council meeting. Tonight we did take a vote to refer some of the work that we had done, which incorporated some of these new amendments into the package. We went back and revised some other things. We added some new rules, renumbered some things. So thank you to all the councilors who appeared before us. Thank you to the members of Ordinance and Rules who had some very lengthy discussions on this. Thank you to Clerk Semino who dealt with all the discussions and the constant rewrites that we did on this. And also thank you to Councilor Taub, Solicitor Taub rather, who we reached out to various times on some open meeting questions that we had in regards to some public comment periods, which was part of some of these amendments. Tonight, we did take a vote to push forward to the full council the package that we had worked on and amended. It was a 3-0 vote as to all rules, and it was a favorable recommendation from one councilor with all the rules with the exception of Rule 8. So there are still some discussions to be had. The discussion we had, though, was to table this till October 20th of 2020 so that Clerk Semino can prepare a sort of clean copy of all the amendments we've worked on, and councils would have 2 weeks to review it, and then we could have a full discussion for the next meeting. So with that said, I would move to continue to table this to the next council meeting on October 20th of 2020.
Second.
There's been a motion made to table item 00220, Council President, Town Council rules by Council Ringus, seconded by Council Ryan. Clerk Semino, a roll call vote, please.
Council Barica,
Yes.
Council Connors,
Aye.
Council Flaherty,
Yes.
Council Hume,
Aye.
Council Mackin, Council O'Brien,
Aye.
Council Ringus,
Aye.
Council Ryan,
Aye.
Council Sasha.
Yes.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you, Clerk Semino. That is unanimous. Moving on to new business. We have none, so we will move on to referral to the Committee on the Department of Public Works. I will turn this over to Councilor Ringus for your motions.
Thank you, Madam President. I would move the council that we refer to the Committee on the Department of Public Works. Order 20068, property owner petition, request for gas installation to 86 Hancock Street, or taking up any action relative thereto. I would also move that we refer to the Committee on the Department of Public Works, order number 03520, Councilor O'Brien, River Street parking, or taking up any action relative thereto.
Second.
Hold on.
There's no discussion on a referral, Councilor O'Brien.
But I don't want to refer it. I absolutely, unfortunately, I know there's no discussion, but I was asked by the administration to postpone. So I don't know what the procedure is, but we need to postpone as opposed to referring. And I'm not going to table, and I'm not going to remove it.
Madam President, I would take my motion off the table, and I will make a new motion.
Go ahead, Councilor O'Brien. Councilor Ringus, sorry.
With Councilor O'Brien's comments, then I will refer to the Committee on the Department of Public, move to refer to the Committee on Department of Public Works, 20068, property owner petition, request for gas installation to 86 Hancock Street, or take up any action relative thereto.
I'll withdraw my first second, and I'll second this motion.
You, Councilor Ryan. There's been a motion made by Councilor Ringus, seconded by Councilor Ryan.
Council Barica,
Yes.
Council Connors,
Aye.
Council Flaherty,
Yes.
Council Hume,
Aye.
Councilor Mackin,
Aye.
Council O'Brien,
Thank you all. Aye.
Council Ringus,
Aye.
Council Ryan,
Aye.
Council Sasha.
Yes.
That's 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
That is unanimous, and we have a couple department heads with us this evening as well. Jim Arsenal, the Director of DPW, Ed Spellman, Director of Municipal Finance, Christine Stickney, the Director of Municipal Planning, and Kelly Phelan with the Planning Department as well. We will move on to referral to the Committee on Ways and Means. Councilor O'Brien, you still have your hand raised?
I do. Am I unmuted? Okay, I do. I just wanted to make a comment because I have residents waiting for that referral that I've now postponed. And I just
Right after Ways and Means, we're going to do that referral.
No, this is the referral that was just postponed.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, thank you. Just one moment. I'll be very brief, Madam President, because there are residents, like I said, that are waiting on that. And I am going to continue to monitor that situation. I did pull it back so that the administration could address or at least review. And so I'm happy to do that and allow them some additional time. But I do want to reflect upon the fact that that is an outstanding request from many, many months ago, prior to even the pandemic. And so I would like it addressed. And then there's a couple of more issues I'll probably add. But in the meantime, I appreciate everyone's patience and the ability to postpone. And then lastly, Madam President, I'd like to go last on that referral, and I'll make a brief statement at that time. Thank you.
Okay, and just to add to that, so that item on River Street has been referred to task. That is the Traffic Advisory and Safety Committee. Okay, Councilor Ringus for the referral to Committee on Ways and Means.
Thank you, Madam President. I would move that we refer to the Committee of Ways and Means, order number 03720. Council Borica, update first quarter FY 2021 budget actual versus projection, or take up any action relative thereto. Also 03820, Council Borica, update billboard sale, or take up any action relative thereto. Order 03920, Council Billerica, update status of Allen Street RFP or take up any action relative thereto. And 2069, Mayor, request for appropriation, Smelt Brook Culvert and Fisheries Habitat Restoration or take up any action relative thereto.
Second.
Been a motion made by Council Ringus, seconded by Council Ryan. Clerk Semino, roll call vote, please.
Council Barica,
Yes.
Council Connors,
Aye.
Council Flaherty,
Yes.
Council Hume,
Aye.
Council Mackin,
Yes.
Council O'Brien,
Aye.
Council Ringus,
Aye.
Council Ryan,
Aye.
Council Sasha.
Yes.
That's 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
That is unanimous. Thank you. So now we're going to move on to an item not on the agenda, the referral to the Committee on Public Safety for the safety plan and evacuation route for the compressor station. This would require a 2/3 majority vote to get it on the agenda to take action to refer it tonight. So is there a motion?
Motion to refer.
Second.
There's been a motion made by Councilor O'Brien, seconded by Council Ringus to put this on the agenda for referral. Clerk Semino, roll call vote, please.
Council Barica,
Yes.
Council Connors,
Aye.
Council Flaherty,
Yes.
Council Hume,
Aye.
Council Mackin,
Aye.
Council O'Brien,
Aye.
Council Ringus,
Aye.
Council Ryan,
Aye.
Council Sasha,
Yes.
all in favor.
Okay, so this is unanimous. So now it is on the agenda. We'll take it up for a vote to refer it to the Public Safety Committee. Council O'Brien, you want to add anything to that?
I was going to do a brief synopsis, if you would allow me, Madam President, and then we can, I'll provide.
Save that for when it gets referred, because on referrals, we don't have any, we're not supposed to be discussing.
Okay, I just want to make sure the FERAX, MAPC, the HIA is all included. Thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion to refer this to the committee?
Motion to refer.
Second.
And a motion for the referral of the Committee on Public Safety by Councilor O'Brien, seconded by Councilor Ringus. Clerk Semino, roll call vote, please.
Council Barica,
Yes.
Council Connors,
Aye.
Council Flaherty,
Yes.
Council Hume,
Aye.
Council Mackin,
Aye.
Council O'Brien,
Aye.
Council Ringus,
Aye.
Council Ryan,
Aye.
Council Sasha.
Yes.
That's 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you, Clerk Semino. And with that, there is no other business on our agenda this evening. So I want to thank Bill Needham with BCAM, who's always with us to record our events and make them available to the public at a future date. The Patriot Ledger Fred Hansen is also with us tonight. And Steve Leary, special thanks to him for making these Zoom meetings happen and televising and recording them. And Solicitor Taub, I want to extend appreciation to you for always being here with us when needed and providing your expertise, opinion, and representing the mayor's office. Truly appreciate it and thank everything you do for us and provide for us. Councilor O'Brien.
Thank you very much, Madam President. In accordance with the order of business, after new business, motions, orders, and resolutions can be on the agenda, I'd like to propose the following resolution, and I will read it slowly so everyone can understand it.
You're presenting a resolution?
Correct. And it's a resolution regarding Elder Affairs Veteran Services Committee. Recently, members of the Town Council have been presented with information from many Braintree residents with concerns over the actions of one of our members. We also received letters addressed to the Council President from veterans, both from our community and beyond, sharing their discrete concerns. As the child of a war veteran and a legislative leader of the community, I bring forth the following measure for the Council's consideration. Per Rule 8 of the Town Council Rules of 2012, President Hume appoints all members to the Council committees. In light of that, in Rule 3 from the same 2012 rules, any member of the Council may appeal the decision of the President by motion. Therefore, I present the following appeal. Shall the decision of the President stand as to the chair of the Elder Affairs Veteran Services Committee I move that Chairwoman Flaherty be removed from the Elder Affairs Veteran Services Committee, both as chair and member, and that the president appoint a replacement counselor to the vacant seat and vacant chair.
Well, one, it's my understanding any resolution has got to be submitted to the council in writing, which it has not been submitted. And I don't believe the rule you're stating is accurate in your ability to what you're calling for. And I actually completely disagree with this resolution and won't be supporting it if it does come before us, because I think I put Councilor Flaherty in that role, knowing she could do a good job. Things that were said by her, she's taken responsibility. She has apologized. Her and myself actually met with veterans over the weekend to discuss that. I don't think she is being given the same opportunity that other people are being given in this community, and there's definitely a double standard. We all make mistakes. We're on this committee, we make mistakes. I fully 100% support her. I'm going to keep her in that role. If it comes to a vote, that's what I'm going to do. And you do need to have this in writing, so we cannot be taking this up. Councilor O'Brien.
It is in writing and it has been sent to the clerk of the council for distribution as per.
We don't have it. We don't have it in writing. Nobody has it in writing.
Clerk Semino, if you could distribute that, please.
It was just received at 9:46 in my email.
So what rules are you referring to, Councilor O'Brien?
There's a motion on the table. I'd like to move to the motion.
Well,
is this same night action?
It would be, yes.
Does anybody object to same night action?
I object to same night action.
Okay. Then we're moving on with the agenda. It only takes one counselor to object to same night action. Okay, so our next meeting will be Tuesday, October 20th, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
There's been a motion made by Councilor Ringus, seconded by Councilor Ryan. Clerk Semino, roll call, please.
Councilor Baraka.
Yes.
Councilor Connors.
Aye.
Councilor Flaherty.
Yes.
Councilor Hume.
Aye.
Councilor Mackin.
Aye.
Councilor O'Brien.
Aye.
Councilor Ringus.
Aye.
Councilor Ryan.
Aye.
Councilor Sasha.
Yes.
9 in favor.
That is unanimous. Thank you, everybody, and good night.